Working in viewer television as a news anchor has been a wonderful experience, and it just continued to get better and better for me. It's a wonderful experience. All the team, we make sure that we come together, we put our head together, and make sure that news is delivered on time. My favorite news time is the primetime news that comes 8 p.m. where we have news reports from all over the world pulled together for your own consumption. It's really taxing, but it's very enjoyable. And I must say, you should keep watching viewer television right here on Startimes platform, channel 191. Feel the spirit, feel the rhythm. It is a moment for worship and praise, a time to connect with the world. Right here on Gospel Light, I bring to your home screens everything the gospel, from musical countdowns to having your favorite gospel artist right here on the program, and as well reporting any gospel event around your area.
You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. All power belongs to you.
Well, I feel blessed and privileged.
Enquiries for sponsorship, for advertisement, do contact us on our email at gospellight.ng@gmail.com. You can as well follow us on our social media platform on Instagram at gospellight.ng, and you can also contact us on 081-3216-1451. Do remain blessed.
Hello, this is Newslive and Viewer Television. My name is Joy Malik. We begin with the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari signs bill extending retirement age and service period for teachers by 5 years. JAMB delays one center as 175,000 seat for mock examination. Plus, Boris Johnson makes surprise visit to Ukraine to meet with President Zelensky. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to the harmonized retirement age for teachers in Nigeria Act 2022. Now, the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, disclosed this in a statement in Abuja. The essence of the bill was to give legal backing for the approval of the new retirement age of 65 from 60 years for teachers and extend their period of service from 35 to 40 years. The Minister of Education, Adamu, reviewed. Now, teachers across the country now have their retirement age and years of service extended by 5 years as President Buhari assents to the harmonized retirement age for teachers in Nigerian acts. President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to two bills, Nigerian Police Academy Act 2021 and Animal Disease Act 2022, recently passed by National Assembly. Now, Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, confirmed this in a statement. According to Shehu, the Animal Disease Control Act repeals the Animal Disease Act Cap A17 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Pantami, has reiterated the federal government's commitment to develop digital policies that would attract more foreign investments to Nigeria. The minister, who was represented by the chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission Board, Professor Adeolu Akande, welcomed EQUIC's investments to Nigeria, the parent company of Main One, and assured Equinix, a global digital infrastructure company of government support, to enable its investment to thrive in Nigeria. Now, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was physically present at the launch of the expanded data center, commended Main One for supporting technology innovation across Nigeria through its expanded data and broadband project since it birthed its submarine cable in Nigeria from Europe in 2010. The Vice President, Growth and Emerging Markets at Equinix, Judith Gardiner, said the acquisition of Main One was Equinix would further give Nigerian access to global and regional technology innovations. And on energy crisis, it is another blackout in Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Katsina and Jigawa State after the national grid collapsed on Friday evening. At least 3 distribution companies, Eco Electricity Distribution Company, Abuja Electricity Distribution PLC, Kano Electricity Distribution Company, confirmed the development through their respective social media handles, informing their customers of the situation in their respective domains. In the various updates, they blamed the outage being experienced by consumers in various states and the Federal Capital Territory on a general system collapse that occurred at about 8:50 p.m. AEDC on its part sought the understanding of its customers with an assurance that relevant stakeholders were working to bring the situation under control. Now, the National Agricultural Land Development Authority has begun the distribution of 500 pumping machines to farmers in Katsina State to boost irrigation farming. The Executive Secretary of NALDA, Prince Ikon, flagged off the distribution of 500 pumping machines at the authority's integrated farm estate in Suduje, Dara local government area of the state. Addressing the beneficiaries of the federal government's gesture, Ikon charged them to use the machine to boost their irrigation activities, warning them to desist from selling the machines. Now, moving over to educational system, United Nations Children's Fund has said that Nigeria is facing a staggering learning crisis, linking the courses to high rate of unqualified teachers, insufficient physical resources and low funding. Now, worried by this, the UNICEF education manager said there have to be a structural approach and data assessment to address challenges of the learning crisis and to achieve goal 4 of the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria, which is to enable inclusive and equitable quality education that promotes lifelong learning, and all children by age 10 must know how to read and solve numeracy. Speaking also, Chief of UNICEF Field Office Kano, Rahama Farah, said education is a fundamental human right and that right is well articulated in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, the CRC, which guides the work of UNICEF, and of course in other legal instruments including the Nigerian Constitution. Now, when Newslive returns, the registrar, Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishak Oloyodeye, has delisted one center from participating in the 2022 UTME examination. Details of these and more comes to you right after the break. Do stay tuned.
Hello guys, and welcome to Motion Reel. Today I'll be taking you on a movie trip.
Did you transfer to Parkhurst?
Where are you from? Certainly not from the same.
Are you a fan of drama? Because this is purely drama.
I guess she's a genuine hero. That's exactly what she
The remaining cast gave us their energy too. My favorite. I don't want to sound biased, but somebody has to have a favorite, right?
What's the weight on your shoulder?
So the main character of this movie, who is Funke Akindele, she played both roles, funny enough. It was about twins. The movie is all about twins, and she played both roles perfectly. She was a strong woman, like a very a woman filled with wisdom, and also it showed her deep roots in her culture.
Watch Motion Reel on Viewer Television Channel 191 on Startimes and Channel 2097 on Tstv. Viewer Television, giving you your voice.
Feel the spirit, feel the rhythm. It is a moment for worship and praise, a time to connect with the world. Right here on Gospel Light, I bring to your home screens everything the gospel, from musical countdowns to having your favorite gospel artist right here on the program, and as well reporting any gospel event around your area.
You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. All power belongs to you.
Well, I feel blessed. I'm privileged.
Enquiries for sponsorship for advertisement, do contact us on our email at gospellight.ng@gmail.com. You can as well follow us on our social media platform on Instagram at gospellight.ng, and you can also contact us on 081-3216-1451. Do remain blessed.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Newslive on Viewer Television. Now we recap over our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari signs bill extending retirement age and service period for teachers by 5 years. JAMB lists one center as 475,000 seat for mock examination. Plus, Boris Johnson makes surprise visit to Ukraine to meet with President Zelensky. And on 2022 JAMB examination, the registrar, Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishak, said one center was delisted from participating in the 2022 UTME examination for system failure, just as 475,000 candidates sat for its mock examination. Now the registrar identified the center as Brainpoint Computer-Based Center at Okoba in Lagos for allegedly violating the requirement for the conduct of an effective examination. Now, Ishak, who said that the CBT centers were allowed to collect up to 1,000 naira from candidates instead of the earlier 700 naira, added that they needed to give their best in the conduct of the examination. He called on some tertiary institutions on the need to maintain their facilities, saying some of the facilities were substandard and hence needed upgrading. Now, the Executive Secretary of the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Third Fund, Sonet Chonu, said that the fund was ready to forge a relationship with the Pan-African University to push the African Union agenda and that of the university forward. Now, Chonu stated this in Abuja while playing host to a team of the African Union Commission for Education led by Professor Mohammed, the Commissioner for Education, who came on a courtesy visit. Now, the Executive Secretary said the Nigerian government has also been working to promote technology, noting that the country is in the process of establishing a national institute in Abuja. Now, a member of the National Youth Service Corps, Olupona Dewale, has dragged the Director of Security Service to court over the alleged unlawful arrest and illegal detention. Now, Adewale, who is a resident in Akure but observing his mandatory one-year NYSC national assignment at AUD Secondary School, Ikere, Ekiti State, was arrested on March 24, 2022 and has remained in the DSS custody till date. And the suit filed by his counsel, Tope Temo Dewale, is urging the court to declare that his arrest and subsequent detention was illegal and a violation of his fundamental human right to freedom of movement. Dewale is asking the court to order the DSS to release him from custody. Now, let's take it to Adamawa State, where electorate in the 21 local government area of Adamawa State are today voting to elect chairman and councillors in the 2022 local government elections. The elections are generally described as peaceful by both the electorate and observers. Viewer television correspondent visited some polling units in the state capital, where election officials were seen conducting the election in an orderly manner, although there were complaints of the late arrival of the electoral materials and officials at some polling units. The state chairman of the Electoral Commission, Shetima Aisa, says there is no cause for alarm.
We didn't stop anybody from movement. This is a fasting period. Some of them don't have even interest in voting. We try to encourage them. That is why you see few of them coming out. And if you notice, we have not stopped movement.
Election, we were so happy. It was so peaceful. We went around. We have not seen anywhere with any conflict. And though there are some places where we saw some late arrivals of material, but it's not much. Yes, we are satisfied with the way the election was conducted.
Now, the federal government, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, says it spends over 6.2 billion naira to train and equip 16,820 youth in Bauchi State in the art of smartphone repairs in an effort to make them to become financially self-reliant. Our Hassan from Bauchi tells us more.
The program aims to provide and improve the quality and relevance of skills delivered using a certification system and to ease the transition of target beneficiaries to full-time skilled employment, self-employment, and or further their education. This is very, very important, and this has been said.
N-Skills Smartphone Repairs Empowerment Program is part of the Empower Non-Graduate Program of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Disaster Management and Social Development is aimed at equipping the teeming unemployed youth to be financially self-reliant. While flagging off the program in Bauchi, Honorable Minister Sadiya Farouk says more than 6,000 youth across all states of the Federation are to benefit from the training. In Bauchi State alone, the federal government has spent over 6 billion naira for this empowerment as put forward by the minister.
So the number of the beneficiaries of the graduate and non-graduate components of this Empower program in Bauchi State has increased from 12,878 deployed under batches A and B to 16,820 under the batch C. We are spending over 6.2 billion naira for the training, tooling, and or payment of monthly stipends of the batch C beneficiaries.
She expressed optimism that if President Muhammadu Buhari approves expansion of the NC, the ministry will double job and wealth creation opportunities for the teeming youth of the Bauchi state. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
Now, the Emir of Das, His Royal Highness Usman Othman, has emphasized the need for special consideration for women in the area of health and education. Our correspondent Hawa Hassan reports that the monarch worries about the socio-economic development of women and the readiness of traditional rulers to give all the necessary support and cooperation to the government in order to ensure active legislature and a considerable number of women participating in all aspects of human endeavors. The reports.
Mun ce matan kada su nemi ilimi misali ko kada su aiki. To wane ne zai koya mana ɗaya ko waɗanda muke aiki?
It was a stakeholders dialogue at the palace of Emir of Das, His Royal Highness Osman Biliamin Othman, organized by the USAID Breakthrough Action Nigeria, aimed at addressing the gaps in gender equity. The Emir, however, expressed concern about the rate of gender discrimination, especially in the northern part of the country, and urges the government to address it.
In this part of the community or nation, we are seeing a lot of violence against women, particularly the rape issues. Apart from the sexual abuse, there are several kinds of abuses going on across. And we are seeing discrimination in terms of appointment, in terms of education and other factors like that. So all of this were discussed and we have expressed our concern.
The Emir also calls on the relevant authorities to give special consideration to women in the area of health and education.
These are one of the issues we have highlighted. We advocate for a special scholarship for our women, particularly in health. Any woman or lady that is going for studies, health-related studies, medicine and other nursing and other midwifery and what have you, should be given special consideration by the state and other stakeholders. Likewise, women that are going for education, they should also be given consideration, special consideration by the state government and other stakeholders.
The dialogue was organized by USAID Breakthrough Action Nigeria in commemoration of the International Women's Day celebration.
Here we focused on two things. One, limited mobility and social interactions for women, and also on equal agency on health decision making. And we brought people from different walks of life, particularly women folks in the local government. And here in the Emirate Palace of the Emir of Das.
According to some religious leaders present, Islamic religion has made provision for certain rights of women.
The women have rights, but the problem is there is manipulation of religion, whereby you've had some of their rights and privileges have been denied, mainly by clergy and ulama. So because of in some cases, there is a lot of misinterpretation of the Quranic text and the biblical text.
Critical stakeholders in the dialogue include traditional leaders, health experts, and legal practitioners, among others. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
In the news around the world, the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson met face-to-face with Ukrainian President Zelensky on Saturday, a surprise visit that marks the latest show of solidarity with the former Soviet state as a continuous effort to beat back a Russian invasion. The deputy head of the office of the President of Ukraine, Andriy Sybiha, confirmed on Facebook that Zelensky and Johnson met. In his own post on the social media outlet, Zelensky said that Johnson is one of the most principled opponents of the Russian invasion and the leader in sanctions pressure. Still on Ukraine matters, on 25th March 2022, the European Union, Commission and the Government of Canada announced the launch of a global campaign to raise funding in support of people fleeing the invasion of Ukraine. In partnership with international advocacy organization Global Citizen Search for available translations of the proceeding. Now the Stand Up for Ukraine campaign seeks to mobilize governments, institutions, artists, companies and individuals to direct funding to support humanitarian efforts in Ukraine and in neighboring countries. Now this aim is to raise funds and mobilize supports more broadly to cater for the needs of internally displaced people and of refugees. Now, French citizens under lockdown in COVID-hit Shanghai will be unable to vote at a city polling station. And Sunday's tightly contested first round of the presidential election. Now, France embassy in Beijing said on Friday repeated approaches to Chinese authorities seeking permission to open the polling station inside the city's French consulate and for voters and polling officials to be allowed to leave their homes were rejected. Shanghai is home to roughly 26 million people, including 4,848 registered French voters as of December, according to the embassy. Now, it has been under lockdown as it battles China's worst COVID-19 outbreak since the pandemic began in Wuhan over 2 years ago. And on cholera outbreak, Human Rights Watch on Saturday asked Cameroon to protect prisoners from a cholera outbreak, saying at least 6 inmates had died in the country's second largest jail since March. According to Cameroon's health minister, 105 people have died in the outbreak since October. The disease has been identified in 6 of the country's 10 regions, including the troubled southwest, where the health system has been severely affected by the violent crisis between government forces and armed separatist groups. Now, outbreaks occur periodically in the nation of more than 25 million inhabitants. The last epidemic was between January and August 2020 when 66 people died. And that's all we can take on Newslive, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari signs bill extending retirement age and service period for teachers by 5 years. JAMB delays one center as 175,000 seat for mock examination. Plus, Boris Johnson makes surprise visit to Ukraine to meet with President Zelensky. Many thanks for watching. I am Jerry Malik. Please stay tuned in the Engineering Expert program. Good night.